Hi, I'm Donna Mears. Welcome to this week's World on Water, your global sailing news. In the last 7 days, we saw the 44 Cup Days 1 and 2, the 52 Super Series in Menorca, the 470 European Championships and Giovanni Soldini's Mod 70 foiler. We profile Nacra 17 Olympic team Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Darmanin, and the Clipper Round the World race crews are kitted out. A difficult opening day at the Adrisi's 44 Cup saw just one race completed and a worthy winner in Igor Lars' team Karif. But perhaps never in the history of the 44 Cup have so many different teams led during one race. After a southeasterly had developed enough to cause the fleet to be called out of their berths, the wind died, but the race officials spotted an area of northerly breeze up the racetrack.
A tricky opening day of the Adris 44 Cup Robin saw just one race completed. But perhaps never in the history of the high-performance one-design monohull circuit have so many different teams led during one race. At the top mark, neck and neck leading in, Charisma and Team CREF put in two tacks and a bear race so close they seemed joined at the hip. But this slowed them down and Brunel's sailing team was able to slingshot into a jibe, rolling the lead duo.
The top mark was very interesting. Everybody arrived pretty much at the same time, and there was a little shift to the left, which meant that a lot of people couldn't lay the mark. So most boats tacked onto port and managed to get around the mark. Pretty close, but the way we're sailing with these rules at the moment, you can push it a little bit.
By the leeward gate, the tables had turned once again, and Team Nacra was ahead. Down the last run, hanging onto port jibe the longest, caused Team CREF to find more wind, putting them into first place in the final metres.
On the last run we were third behind Nacra and Brunel's, and we worked a little deep on port. I thought maybe if we go just on the other side of them, maybe we'd get the bias on the line and a little more wind. So that worked out perfectly, so we sneaked a win from what was a very tricky race.
This left Team Nacra and Brunel's to fight for second, resulting in a photo finish between them on the line. Sadly, the wind then failed to stabilise, and after a wait, the decision was taken to send everyone home for the day. Despite the much more stable conditions compared to yesterday, racing on day 2 of the Adris 44 Cup Robin served up some unusual results and some difficult situations for the teams. Glory boys of the day were unquestionably Nico Pin's Charisma, who managed to win today's first and last races. However, these sandwiched a costly last place.
You're out there and you have to make the decisions. So, you never know what happens. You can always caught by surprises in this game.
Artemis Racing came to the fore, winning race 2. This performance, following a second in today's first race, elevated the Swedish team up to the same points as leader Team CREF going into the final race. But in that, Igor Lars' team scored a 4th while Artemis was 6th, causing the Slovenian team to regain the lead overall by 2 points at this halfway stage of the regatta.
The first couple, it was big packs of boats at the top of the race course and at the bottom, and we were able to kind of wiggle through and get a second in the first. So that was good, and we weren't in those positions going into it either. There were just a lot of boats trying to push it in, and there was some current coming downwind. It was a little less on the right-hand side, so upwind you always want to be on that side.
But it was Frenchman Hugo Lepique's team Aleph which had the best day, fighting their way through to finish among the top 3 in every race. This supreme consistency has propelled Aleph Racing from 8th place to 3rd today.
After a thrilling close finish, Harm Muller-Spears' platoon crew clinched the first regatta title of the 2019 52 Super Series season, winning Menorca by 1 single point. Armed with an excellent all-round speed across the event's varied wind conditions, from 6 to 18 knots. Platoon delivered a 2-2-1 from the last 3 races to narrowly eclipse Ergun Anini's Professor.
Welcome to 2019, and the 52 Super Series starts here in the Sunshine Island of Menorca. We're back here for the 3rd time, a little break last year. The sailors love this venue for the passion on the shore and the open racecourse out on the water. This year we have 11 boats, the biggest fleet ever at the start of a season, line up. And 2019 sees new faces among the crews and new boats. Freshly launched is Brunanasek, returning to the circuit with a brand new boat after 1 year out. New faces on the dock include Brunanasek's Croatian gold medalist, Šime Fantela.
I love it. I really have a nice team behind me, and the new boat feels really good. I think we can compete with the fastest guys here, and we are strong.
And 5 changes to the 2018 champions Quantum Racing's lineup include the return of Ed Baird to the helm, and navigator Juan Villa is back. Newcomer is Cameron Appleton on the team as tactician.
We're excited for another season to come to us. We've got a lot of new guys on board, but we're having fun together, and hopefully it'll be a good year.
It's my style versus Ed's style, and what we each like to hear, and then just how you sort of prioritise certain things. This is a pretty strong fleet. It's very refined this year, and mistakes are costly.
And the 52 Super Series rookies stepping up to have a tilt at the world's leading Grand Prix monohull circuit are the established French crew Team Vision Future.
It's the better fleet, the better sailor. That's the most important event in the world for the monohull.
Many of them are amateurs with real day jobs.
I'm a physiotherapist.
I'm a mining engineer.
Sustainability is a key priority this year once again for the 52 Super Series. Before the regatta started, the Super Series family joined local organisations for a beach clean-up. And then during the regatta, an underwater race dock clean-up produced a small mountain of irresponsibly discarded debris. But there are many new initiatives on the sustainability agenda for 2019.
We start 2 new initiatives. One of them is fuel consumption, that we don't go full speed from the race course back to the harbour. And the other thing is food waste. The amount of food which is thrown away in the whole world, we have to minimize that. I think we are in a very good way, because the first event here in my home was already a big success. Barbecue went quite well, so there was no food left at all.
The racing started in perfect brochure conditions, Azura opening with a 2nd and a 1st. A dream start.
This is our best start of the season for the last 10 years, I think. We are happy because we feel that the boat is going well, so that's a good relief.
On the 2nd day, winds refused to cooperate and there was no racing. But a 3-race Thursday was good for the 2018 champions Quantum. 4th, 2nd, 1st reflects positive progress for the new lineup.
We fought hard, and we had really good strategy all day, and Ed was able to help us execute it. The rest was the guys just working and sailing the boat well.
But Azura's dream becomes something of a nightmare, with a 7th, a 10th and a 7th dropping them off the podium. Pravetsa proved solid contenders, 2nd going into the final day, chasing Quantum hard.
It was a good day for us. It's tricky out there, and it's quite a one-way track. If you get it just right, you can have a really great day.
Breezy finale to the Menorca 52 Super Series sailing week, 15-16 knots, nice big seas, great conditions. The first race of the day will Pravetsa get away. That takes them to the top of the leaderboard going into the final race. But it's Platoon finishing with a 2-1, which win the regatta, the first of the season. Pravetsa tantalisingly close in 2nd.
It's a result of the consistency in the team. We are sailing right now for 5 years together, and everybody knows that the competition is so hard. The boat is going really well, so the changes we made over the winter paid off.
And the final standings, Platoon win the regatta on 28 points, Pravetsa are 2nd on 29 points, and Quantum Racing 3rd on 34 points. An incredibly close first regatta of the season here in Menorca finishes with a win for Platoon, but only 4 seconds separating 1st and 2nd in the end. Pravetsa pushing hard. Join us again in Puerto Sherry in June for the 2nd event.
medal races sailed in perfect Mediterranean conditions, wrapped up the 470 European Championships, organised by local yacht club San Remo in a cooperation with the national and international 470 class. At the eve of the grand final, both the men's and women's top 10 standings were so close to give everyone a chance to grab a medal. Despite some hours waiting, shortly before 2 p.m, the wind set and enabled the race committee to launch the medal race on the Winwood-Lew-Wood course that were concluded in less than half an hour. Giovanni Soldini and his Maserati Multi-70 set sail from San Francisco for the first edition of the CA 500, which is the last event of the California Offshore Race Week. The three trimarans passed under the Golden Gate Bridge and were sailing close hold towards Long Island Light before setting course to San Diego. They were sailing at 27 knots behind their competitors Argo and Powerplay, who already doubled the last buoy and were headed straight to San Diego. On Saturday, June 1st, local time, Maserati crossed the finish line of the first edition of the CA 500. The course of the regatta is around 500 miles long from San Francisco to San Diego. Maserati completed the race with an elapsed time of 1 day, 11 hours, 41 minutes and 52 seconds. as the Olympic trials are happening all over the world for selection for Tokyo 2020. We profile Nacra 17 foiling catamaran duo Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Darmanin from Australia, who are at the top of the standings.
I'm Lisa Darmanin. I sailed the Nacra 17 with Jason Waterhouse. I'm from Sydney and my home club is the Manly 16-foot skiff sailing club. So my mum sailed when she was younger and my uncle called my mum up and said you should bring the kids down to the sailing club. So I started racing against Jason in the Manly Junior. I hated it. I was so scared. I remember the first time that we went out, we capsized, the Manly ferry was coming, it was 20 knots, and every photo of me in the first year of sailing, I'm death staring the camera. But somehow I got over it and now I love it. I first represented Australia at the 2008 Youth Worlds in Denmark with Jason, and that was the first time I kind of thought about going to the Olympics. And then we went again in 2009 and won the gold, and that's when I decided that I wanted to go to the Olympic Games. When I'm not sailing, I'm usually exhausted from sailing, so I usually nap a lot. My career highlight is definitely winning a silver medal at the Rio Olympics. It's a bit of a bittersweet memory, so hopefully we have a better highlight in another year's time. The best thing about sailing is sending it when you're out of control in survival weather. The best sailing venue in Australia is Sydney Harbour. I might be a bit biased, but the best sailing venue in the world would have to be Lake Garda. I really look up to Tora Bright. I remember watching her win her gold medal on the television, and she really inspired me to, if I get knocked down, just get back up there and give the best performance you have. For young sailors around Australia, I think the most important thing is to have fun and sail as many types of boats as you can get your hands on, and then decide which one you want to sail at the Olympics.
I'm Jason Waterhouse and I skip in the Nacra 17 and I sail with Lisa Darmanin. I'm from the Northern Beaches in Sydney and my home club is Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club. My first experience with sailing is when my parents decided that it'd be good for us to sell our house and buy a yacht in San Diego and sail across the Pacific Ocean when I was 4 years old. I managed to get involved with Olympic sailing once the Nacra 17 was introduced as an Olympic class. Before that, the multi-hull wasn't in the Olympics and that was a bit of a tough transition, but once the Nacra 17 was nominated with the mixed gender, Lisa and I both knew that it was our opportunity and we set the goal to compete in Rio 2016. Career highlight so far would probably have been the Olympic silver medal in Rio 2016. That was a great achievement, being Lisa and I's first Olympics and being quite young, but hopefully the first of many. My cooking specialty, I'm a terrible cook. All I can really make is scrambled eggs is probably my specialty, which is probably a bit sad, but hey, I enjoy them. Yeah, my superstitions on race day is generally I don't shave during the event. I don't know why, it's probably more laziness than a superstition, but I like to think it maintains my wisdom throughout the event. Yeah, my sporting heroes, well, when I was younger was Darren Bundock, and now, funny enough, he's my coach. So he's been a great coach and now sort of transitioned to a mentor. My advice to young sailors is there's no limit to your potential, that you set the bar really high, and support each other on and off the water and be gracious in defeat and victory, and to look after your family because they're the ones looking after you at the moment.
As race crews embark on their final level of training, they'll be kitted out by one of the world's leading sailing brands, Musto. Musto, the Clipper race technical clothing partner, is providing each crew member with a clothing package which includes modified foul weather gear alongside other core items of technical clothing.
Hi, I'm Shane. I am the design manager of sailing at Musto. I think like most designers, I got into design because I'm fanatical about detail. I think as a designer we are collectors of detail. The design process for HPX actually starts at the end of the last ocean race. We go and meet the teams and we get very brutal feedback on all of the kit that they've worn. They tell us all of the good, but what's more important to us is all of the bad, what hasn't worked. It's this feedback from the team which has kept us innovating and our kit at the forefront of the offshore sailing market. The biggest thing is obviously that it's absolutely fit for purpose, and that would include making sure it accommodates the free layer system. When you're in the Southern Ocean and it's very, very cold and you need to stay warm, but also you need your manoeuvrability, the kit is designed literally from base layer through the mid layer to the outer layer so that it all works in unison together. On top of that, obviously it needs to be waterproof. Probably equally or more important that it actually needs to breathe. Actually, if you think about waterproofness, it's very easy to make something waterproof because a plastic bag is waterproof. The challenge is actually making something breathable. We're really excited for our new partnership with the Clipper Race. It's going to provide another platform for us to test and innovate our kits. Combining this opportunity with our relationship with Gore-Tex ensures that we're going to remain at the forefront of offshore sailing.
Well, that's it for another fantastic week on World on Water. I'm Donna Mears, and catch us next week for more boating news.